Good morning. September 13th, Friday the 13th. Uh, so much hidden from us. Why did they make 13 an unlucky number? Do you know there's 13 moons, full moons, new moons and moons in a year? 13. 13 cycles for a woman in a year. Menstrual cycles. Menstrual, moon, month, mama, maternal. So much hidden. So we just have the passing of September 11th. Do you know anybody that was hurt, killed, diseased, toxified that day? I do. I do. People that went down there to help and ended up diseased in their bodies. I do. So much injustice in the world. And yet we all do it, and we all are subject to it. Everything is energy. Matter is energy slowed down. Life is fragile. In this realm, life is fragile. I hope you can hear me because there's waterfalls going where I am. Life is fragile. Seems like some people go through so many difficult things or so many years of difficulty while perhaps it seems like other people don't. Why is that? Are we living parallel lifetimes all at the same time? Could that be? We are learning to unlearn everything that we've been indoctrinated to think, to know, to see, to speak. We are realizing that we really don't know very much, and that humbles us, and it also creates a sense of awe and wonder at the universe and all that we do not know. I keep saying in my daily meditation and prayers that I am giving up the fight against proving my path out of Christianity, because I have no one to prove it to and nothing to prove. And yet there is this force that I feel I have to contend with to prove, that I was indoctrinated. And so letting go of that has everything to do with me and nothing to do with anyone else. When we are ready to self-reflect, we are ready to take a look at the ego. I recently mentioned something about ego to a Christian recently, that a person I really love and admire and honor. And I guess I didn't think about it. I guess I'm in circles and tribes of people who talk about ego now so freely. And the sense that the ego is the pathway to freedom, actually. like the cross. And the person hasn't spoken to me since or responded. So I feel that I offended them and I insulted them. And I realized, everybody's in a different place. Everybody's in a different level of consciousness and understanding and understanding, in a different place of self-awareness. And unsolicited advice perhaps has to do with my own ego. So it's better to share my journey, my experience through my own authenticity, um, and to enjoy the circles of authenticity and sharing that are welcomed in our communities. And I'm realizing too, I want to share a little bit of my own self-reflection here. I'm realizing that, every day when I pray, I say, why am I so angry at Christianity? What is it that has made me so angry? And it definitely goes back to ourselves, right? And my anger leads me back to my own family of origin, people in my close circles where I don't see or experience true transformation from all that has been preached all of these years. Where is the true transformation? And if there isn't true transformation, then let's be self-reflective and honest and authentic about it and say, hey, we've preached this message for decades, but it has not transformed us. Let's take a look at that and why that hasn't worked. I have said this before, but I believe that authenticity would be one of the most powerful currencies, energies, an exchange of energy between humans in these days. Authenticity. We are beautiful messes. And as we share that process of alchemy, of self-realization, of coming out of the matrix, of our humble path with one another, we align with light, we align with power because we are walking in a path of truth. We shall know the truth, and the truth shall set us free. But the truth isn't always bright. It isn't always a wonderful message. Sometimes the truth is, I hate that person. Sometimes the truth is, I lied about that. Sometimes the truth is, I manipulated this situation. Sometimes the truth is, I was afraid, so I did this, this, and this. And then this resulted, and it affected all of these people. Sometimes the truth is those things. Oftentimes, most times, that's what the truth really is as we go within. And that is the truth that sets us free, because when we acknowledge our truth in our path, we not only acknowledge, but we soften to the truth of the karma that we created. We reap what we sow, right? We realize what we created, because we're creators and co-creators with God. And we create beautiful things too. But I'm just talking about self-reflection here in our path and our journey. When we realize what we created and the aftermath of that and how it affected others and ourselves, we let go of shame. We feel the acceptance of love, knowing that we are human, swaddling the divine within us, the Christ incorruptible seed hidden within us, right? And we tap into that seed. And now we can sow something of incorruptible, supernatural life, because we've acknowledged something we've done in a path of the illusion of this world, out of fear, out of some lower vibration, some lower frequency, usually fear. usually fear. But it is that path, that is the cross right there. And when we can acknowledge and we can, what the Christian faith calls repent, which I believe we can do in so many, many ways, whatever wisdom shows us to do. It could be a prayer, it could be a confession, it could be an act of redemption, it could be something huge. It could be making huge moves and huge selling all we have. It could be, having to get on a plane and make a trip to somebody. It could be picking up the telephone. There's so many ways that we're called to redeem as we walk out this journey. And I've been criticized about this because Christians will say, well, we can't name our days all day long. We're just in Christ, we're in Jesus, and we're covered by the blood, and let's go forth in joy. And yet we keep hitting the same walls because that same karmic cycle continues around and around. But we are living in a time, and this part of this timeline of humanity is the culmination of generations of karma that is being offered to us to clear and to redeem right now. My generation, with Pluto in Virgo, is feeling this in our bodies. Virgo is all about the body. Pluto brings death, transformation, and resurrection. There is some kind of a death, transformation, and resurrection that is being called to work through our bodies. For those in my generation, that's why we feel our nervous system, which is the central, right? The central nervous system. It's the core of us. The electromagnetism of our being that connects to the universe, to God within and God without. Our central nervous systems are giving us messages all day long. And that's why the central nervous system of humanity is shut. It's spent. It is overstimulated. It is, just as a nurse, I could tell you how many the most fastest growing area of medicine is neurology, because so many diseases are appearing. I mean, let's take, for instance, myasthenia gravis. When I became a nurse in 1991, I think I saw, up until 2020, I think I saw being generous here, under 10 cases, patients that had myasthenia gravis. Now, blowing it out of the water. It is everywhere. Myasthenia gravis is showing up. Now, is that because of this thing? We don't know. But regardless, why is myasthenia gravis becoming such a prevalent disease amongst humanity? Something is culminating in the nervous system, in the body of humanity. It's being carried in our bodies because energy has to land somewhere. These are basic principles. And when I was working with an energy healer, in a relationship with an energy healer, these concepts were so simple, to this person. And, she was teaching me these concepts, and I was more schooled in spiritual concepts and prayer and deliverance and how to, spiritually move spirits, I called them. She called them energies. They're the same thing. There used to be an argument in Christianity. Can a Christian be possessed by a demon? Oh boy. Darkness is very tricky and covert. I talk a lot about witchcraft and how I realized how much witchcraft really is practiced, even by Christians. Witchcraft, coercion, manipulation, proselytizing my will upon others, praying crafted prayers for others as if I know the will of God for them. You see, that is all projection. That is all diverting my own path. not focusing on my own path. It makes my ego feel good when I can say, you know what, I'm going to pray for that person. Even though they hurt me, I'm going to pray for them. And I'm going to pray this, that, and the other for them. Instead of looking at my own heart and my own path, it still makes me feel better that I'm praying for someone that I don't like. I still have to look within my own path. That's where the true power is activated. That's where I meet God. When I pass through the truth of my own soul, the truth sets me free. And that truth is a continual path. We have generations and generations and generations of karmic cycles embedded in us that are now culminating to a point that God is offering us deliverance from these karmic patterns and cycles. God is offering us an opportunity for this generation to clear and to upgrade and to pass through that gate, right? But where is the gate? It's in here. And we, in a million ways, run away from this. And even by praying for others, we run away from that. And that's why it's so good to have open authenticity in tribes and friendships and community, open authenticity, trust, self-reflection, speaking in the first person. Yeah. So this is where we are right now. And I can get into the astrology of it all. You know, we're getting a full moon lunar eclipse in a few days in Pisces with Neptune around the last degree of the zodiac. I mean, Neptune is at the highest, octave. I've shared this before. It's the mystic, it's the true Christ, it's the shaman. It is us at our highest, self, or our highest vibration, our highest frequency, our true identity. That is the true Neptunian highest octave, right? But the lowest is the escape artist, the one who escapes reality, the addict. We can be addicted to Jesus. We can be addicted to anything outside of ourselves. We can be addicted to spiritually bypass our own soul path. And we can, through our ego, make it look amazing. But we're still, like that scripture, I love that scripture that says, having a form of godliness, but denying its power, because the power has to be seen. And that takes me back to why I feel so angry at Christianity, at fundamental Christianity, because where is the change? Where is the transformation? Where are the repentances? Where is the healing? Where is the healing? Where is the healing? And this is upon us. But at the lower octave, it's the escape artist. Because at the highest octave, it's also the artist. But at the lowest octave, it's the escape artist. At the highest octave, it's the dreamer. At the lowest octave, it's the addict and the one who escapes what is reality. And so in this world and in this illusion of this world, we do escape reality. I was thinking the other day about something my kids have asked me to do, and I still have not done it for them. And I thought, wow, I think I will do anything for my kids, but it's not true. If our kids asked us to stop doing something because it was hurting them, would we stop doing it if we knew it was hurting our children? So we lie to ourselves, and there's no shame. It's just the truth. The truth is saying, you know what, I really would love to stop doing this for the love of my children, right? But I haven't stopped. I haven't changed in this area. I haven't given up this addiction for them. I haven't ceased this behavior. And I realized even with my own parents, and I've not shared a lot about my family on here just to respect them, but there comes a point where we have to begin to openly share our journey and we can't hold back. And I did get to a point with my own parents that I felt, where is the power in the Christianity that they have preached to me all of these years? Where is the change? Where is the healing? And I've recently been able to make some strides in my own path in accepting that, and also just being able to receive love and compassion, even in the unwillingness of family members. Sometimes we look at an elder generation and we expect from them and we want them to do something about this shithole that we're living in, do something about this crazy place that we're living in. Help us. The children are crying out, help us, former generations, would you help us? And so, not for shame, but for just an awareness that, because sometimes, like, I believe my son, even though he's younger in chronological age, I believe my son came here with a higher spiritual intelligence than even me or my husband. I believe that my son is older in spiritual age than us. He's an old soul. All of my children are old souls, I believe. But we can tend to look at an older generation and say, can you show me the proof? Can you show me, the power of the message that you preach? And that's why I was speaking recently about the generation of Pluto and Leo, because there is a certain sense of opportunity being given to that generation to clear the pride of the heart to the younger generations, so that karmic cycles could be broken and released and cut off and, freed. How much of that are we really seeing from the older generation? Now, my generation with Pluto and Virgo is being given the opportunity to clear these energies in our bodies. That's also going to take steps of doing something with our body, literally, that clears those things. We actually have to do something with our body physically. Whether that means moving out of a region, whether that means stopping eating certain foods, whether that means to work those energies through us, through prayer, through confession, through moving our bodies in a certain way. I'm very open to what other people might call weird tactics or practices in moving energy through our body. We could sit in front of TV for hours and look on the internet for hours and think that it's fine, and yet we see somebody moving energy through their body and it looks a little weird. We think that that's off kilter and that's strange and that's demonic, or that's, whatever. We give a label to it. Heart intention is the most important thing. Heart intention. So we're entering this eclipse window, and I can go all into that, but I'm not going to. And I really believe that mid-October is going to be very telling, very humbling. I do believe that there will be some type of a timeline shift at that time, like a massive shift. And we're in a time of preparation for that. We have been especially since the total solar eclipse in Aries, which I saw as a portal opening to our true identity, healing of our core identity, as Neptune is headed into Aries soon, and Saturn, as well as all the outer planets that are going to change signs between now, November of this year, and mainly 2026. That 2 years is going to be the most compressed period of change in our history. definitely during all of those who are living now. It will be the most compressed period of change for all of us. It will be humbling. It will be powerful. We won't be who we are now, even in a few months, because of what's coming. And, grace and mercy, grace and mercy. If all we can do is to pray for humility and authenticity. If that's all we could do is pray for humility and authenticity, I think that's one of the most powerful things that we could do right now, because of what is coming. And something else I was going to say about this compressed time of change, mid-October, and because I believe a portal opened, and think what you want about portals, but portal just comes from the same root of the word puerta. In Spanish and Italian, it means door. It means gate, gateway, puerta, Puerto Rico, all the ports of the United States, the ports. In fact, I just saw an article, and I posted it actually, come to think of it, on Facebook, that they are going to possibly have a strike of those ships that do the shipping containers. And if that happens, I mean, the ports will, in a sense, close and slow down. But I believe that the portal has been opened to us, the gateway, the gate. And many will continue to sleep. I just want to say this, many will continue to sleep and many will continue to awaken. When we talk about Christ coming, and I've shared this before, of course, I don't believe a man's going to come through the skies. It's already here. The coming of Christ is already here. The appearing is already here. There are people awakening. Humanity is awakening. That Christ, the anointed one, the God divinity, this divine spark and fractal of the source is in every single human. And what a glorious appearing it is. And as others continue to sleep and stay in the illusions of this world, they will just continue living in that realm of the illusions of this world. As we are being called out of this world, I don't believe there's any calling out of the world without the humble path. I believe they coincide, they're parallel, they go together, because in this world we think we know it all, and the ego is so strong. Some may call it the flesh, some may call it the lower mind, some may call it carnality, but whatever you want to call it. As we come out of that, we are humbled because we realize we're in awe and wonder, and we realize, oh my God, I was so wrong, and our trajectory takes a whole different path. And as that happens, more and more falls away from the old and from the egoic carnality, that know-it-all superiority of ignorance, actually, that we were in. And as that happens, it melts away, right? We're humbled. So I don't think they can happen without one another. And I just want to say that as these outer planets move, we're going to be dominating into fire and air signs and out of water signs. So things that are happening with water, especially with this lunar eclipse, I think are going to be very pronounced, because this is kind of the end of the Piscean era, epoch, and the end of the Piscean energies of Saturn and Neptune being there together, especially retrograde, which is more powerful than when they're direct. They're reopening the books, they're reminding us, they're renewing, they're re-establishing what was missed. So I believe this is huge. We may even see flooding. I believe there's a tsunami of souls moving out of the Piscean age. And I've explained it this way because this is the way I see it, taking the remnant of truth from the Piscean age, leaving everything else behind in that tsunami, and being the outpouring of the baptism into the Aquarian age. That truth will baptize humanity because it's enough, because it is a fractal of the whole of truth. And we are going into fire and air signs and masculine signs, which is interesting because the divine feminine is being restored. So why are we going into masculine fire signs? I guess there has to be a purification of the masculine. There has to be a reestablishing a renewal of the masculine in this new energy, in this renewed, purified energy, to also therefore purify the feminine and establish the feminine, right? And I think of Christ and the bride. Who comes first? Well, Christ does, right? And then the bride. And so the masculine and then the feminine. And though we have like a masculine dominant, eternally dominant in those Capricornian energies ruled by Saturn, and those top-down structures, so they're falling because they were driven by greed and just worldly systems. So they have to fall away, and the purified masculine has to come to life so that it can purify the bride and unite the bride to itself. So I believe those things are going to happen over the next 20 years. And I think it would be amazing to see that even manifested in men here on earth, the purified masculine. It's going to heal the feminine. And I'm getting touches of that even with my husband, that, you know, personal things I wouldn't share here openly, but just amazing supernatural places that we're touching of healing together as the masculine is healed and purified, how it heals the feminine. It's a mystery. It's a mystery. And if we tap into it, it's miraculous. Truly, what we forfeit for worldly crumbs, what we forfeit the miraculous for these worldly, fleshly crumbs. If only we could see with spiritual eyes into the unseen, this is true faith. When we see into the unseen, this is true faith, and we can see into the realms unseen, this is true faith. Faith is not believing, it is seeing into the unseen realms, and therefore knowing and acting upon them. That is the faith that works, which brings life, because faith without works is dead. And so we ask our eyes to see into the unseen, that we may be empowered to act and to do and to respond. This is where true transformation comes in. And this is where, if Christianity is going to last, if it is going to endure, it is going to have to show forth its works with its beliefs. Whatever is truth will remain from that religion, but it must show forth its works. Because we are going from Piscean, I believe, to Aquarian, I know. And they will know us by our fruit. They will know us by our love. They will know us by our truth. We will be known authentically by others. We will not hide under religious concepts and beliefs, but we will be known intimately, truth and the inner thoughts. God bless you. Grace and mercy for all of us. We need it. Sending you love.